importantly, it's an economy that's built on a renewal of American values: hard work, responsibility, and the sense that the same rules apply to everybody, from Wall Street to Main Street.
Our economy is becoming weaker. The foundation of our future economy is being eroded. Government has become too large. We're headed in a very dangerous direction.
My goal is to shrink the government to fit the revenue, not to raise the revenue to catch up with the government.
And that, in miniature, was essentially the argument that the American polity will be having come this fall, whomever wins the Republican nominating contest, Newt Gingrich or Mitt Romney. And the debate will be between the president calling for more fairness and Republicans calling for more freedom. So who will win that fight, and how does the electorate break down on those questions? So why don't we talk to a couple of very smart pollsters, one from the red team, one from the blue team, about how that's going to go. Now, first of all, here as our chaperone to make sure that everything stays according to Hoyle, Shira Tuplitz, she's from Roll Call, she's smart and she's fair, so we like to have her.
If I catch you drinking, I'll send you home from the prom.
That's right, again. And
I'm out of here.
joining us for the first time ever live and in person in Studio 3 is Adam Geller. He is a big-time, big-shot Republican pollster. He does some work for New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. You may have heard of that guy. And unfortunately, Adam did not get the memo about which necktie to wear. And
I love your style.
And in New York, we have Bernard Whitman. He's a Democratic pollster. He is also a big deal, and he is a former pollster to President Bill Clinton. You may have heard of him, too. Okay, pollster gentlemen, all-star pollster panel. Here's the question. Fairness or freedom, how is the electorate going to respond to that? Let's go up to New York with Bernard and get your take.
Well, I think there's no question, based on the sound bites that you played, I mean, President Obama is striking a masterful tone, and here's why. He is using values-based messaging to talk about the economy. He's using hard work and responsibility, which are obviously very appealing to independents and the right. He's talking about playing by the same rules, which is very appealing to the left. I think he did an amazing job. I have to say, Mitt Romney sounds like the Jimmy Carter of this cycle. He's talking down to people. He's being incredibly negative. And I think, frankly, that was the problem in Mitch Daniels' Republican response. Mitch Daniels was so negative, was so downbeat, that I think, in addition to putting everyone to sleep, I think he depressed everyone. And
that's the governor of Indiana who gave a Republican rebuttal to the President's State of the Union.
And just to round this out, Newt Gingrich, who clearly lost last night's debate to Mitt Romney, based on the quotes that you used, certainly had the upper hand against Mitt Romney. But the problem with Newt is this. Everybody loves the platitudes that come out of his mouth, but when it comes down to actually executing the policies needed to deliver on those platitudes, people run away in droves. That's what got Bill Clinton elected in '96, and that's ultimately why Newt Gingrich will fail, because while his lofty rhetoric may be very pleasing to the ear, when you actually go underneath and find out he's got a gut education, he's got to gut the environment, he's got to gut FDA regulations to pay for this, then people will disappear from his candidacy.
All right, Adam, of course, you're welcome to rebut, but
thank you.
I want to remind you of the question on this fairness versus freedom argument that's going to rage no matter who wins the Republican nomination. How do you see that playing?
Well, I appreciate that. And to Bernard's point for a moment, I will say that you can't have it both ways, Bernard. You know, rhetoric from Obama doesn't equal the jobs numbers and the lack of economic growth that we have. So, you know, you could talk about rhetoric versus reality. Well, you got to use that for Obama, too. That's all I'll say about that. Freedom versus fairness. Here's the deal. Freedom is fairness, okay? Obama wants to give poor people a handout. Gingrich, as he said in the debate, wants to give poor people a broom. Mitt Romney wants to give people an opportunity to create a business, to own a business, to create jobs. So freedom is fairness. If you really want to talk about fairness, you've got to give people the freedom to create, to sell stuff, to own
they would
things.
They would say in the Garden State.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, stop giving people brooms and stop giving people handouts and making them dependent on government, and give them an opportunity to have a business and hire people. Tell them, here, you know what, we're going to get at it. We're not going to tax you on it. We're going to give you an enterprise zone like we used to talk about in the 80s. And here, go sell stuff. Make a company. Sell things that people want.
All right, Bernard, question.
How about stop giving multimillionaires tax breaks that they don't need? I mean, that's one thing that we could
Bernard,
stop
you bring
doing
up a great
to help
point
balance
because
the budget.
You know, Bernard does bring up a great point, because it is a crime to be rich and successful in this country.
It's not a crime.
Even in a Republican primary, we're going to criticize success.
We're not.
So you know what?
Gentlemen, we're not in the same room, so it's hard to have the argument. We're used to seeing you in studio with your Democratic.
This is why you don't bring me here.
This is why we don't have you in Washington. We have restraining orders for these kinds of things. But go ahead, Bernard. I want to ask you this question. So fairness, Americans do like fairness. To your point, fairness is considered a Central American value. Well, a North American value too, but it's quite central to the American way of life. But fairness also can be drawn as a little socialistic-y, and the Republicans are going to hit President Obama for emphasizing this fairness, right?
Well, you know, I got to give huge credit to the Occupy Wall Street movement, because what that did is it redefined fairness, and it redefined the message away from this is Obama a socialist and more towards let's look at the people who have gained under the Bush policies. Let's look at the people who have not really been hurt in this last economic downfall, and let's look at the people who are really struggling. That is the 99%. And the Occupy Wall Street movement really allowed the Democratic Party to embrace the notion that income inequality is a real problem, that 2/3 of the American people think income inequality is a huge issue, far greater than overregulation. And that's why I think on a fairness versus freedom, fairness is going to win out, because people are concerned that the middle class, which most people identify with, can't seem to get ahead here, and the system seems to be rigged for Mitt Romney and the 1%.
What say you?
I say the reason the middle class can't get ahead is because unemployment refuses to go below 8% because of Barack Obama's failed policies. Again, I mean, it just comes back to forget about the flowery rhetoric. You can criticize Gingrich for the rhetoric. I criticize him for that too. But in the case of Obama, the rhetoric doesn't match the reality. And this Occupy Wall Street nonsense, I mean, listen, you know, these guys, trust me when I tell you, they will create a lot of good discussion, but in no way, shape, or form will they take away from the central tenet that Barack Obama is, in fact, trying to put forth policies that do border on socialism. When you're talking about redistributing wealth, this is what you're talking about.
All right, gentlemen. Shira's given us the sign that we've gone quite far enough,
Our chaperone.
and we have to break now. And Shira, we'll let you give them their grade when we come back in our next segment.
Okay.
Okay, is that fair?
Absolutely.
Be kind, Shira.
I'll try.
Bernard, thank you so much for making time
Thank
for
you
us,
for
and say
having
hi to Sasha and the whole gang up there in New York. We wish we could be with you, but we will be tomorrow, by the way, or on Monday.